as much as they need to, he is seemingly still doing quite a bit of damage.
I think the thing about Bombardier is that prior to this change, his ultimate does a huge amount of damage. You land that thing, someone is potentially taking, what, 2,000 damage straight off anywhere on the map? It is a phenomenal amount of damage, and the hero is balanced in the full knowledge that his ultimate is, along with Soul Stealers, one of the most damaging in the game, except that his ultimate can do full damage to as many people as you like. So I think
Yeah.
the issue with the pre-buff Bombardier was that his ultimate was very powerful, but very, very hard to land. So teams were shying away from him because even though he had enormous potential, he was so difficult to use and so hard to have that unlock. He was essentially Meepo version 2. Sure, he's bloody brilliant if you can do it, but nobody really can. So I think, well,
But actually, it's
reached the point
interesting.
now.
I was talking to Chu the other day, and Chu was VG, and he was saying that he plays Bombardier all the time in houses and whatnot, and he was saying that this buff was completely unnecessary, and I mean, he was like even before this buff, he was absolutely dominating with that character, and he's saying that now with the recent buff to Bombardier, that the hero is actually overpowered. But you know, I mean, that
may well be right. I mean, if you look at someone like Meepo, if anyone could actually at any point use Meepo to his full potential, they would break the game so hideously badly that it would be untrue. He's essentially 4 heroes for the price of 1. I think the point she was getting at is that if anyone can use the new Bombardier to the full potential of his I can do you 2,000 global damage anywhere ultimate, well, like probably Chu can, but not necessarily anyone else, he's going to break the game, and Bombardier getting away by the skin of his teeth because Bubbles isn't willing to pop the ultimate. But I think the issue that Chu's raising is that he is obviously a very skillful player, and just as he was the one that was using Meepo in scrims and trying to popularise the hero, maybe if you're good enough with the old Bombardier, you can do something with it. It's just that nobody was really willing to chance having him in such a high quality game because of the fact that he's such an if you screw this up, you're going to get nowhere kind of hero, because if you miss his ultimate, he's not bad, but you'd be better off just picking Thunderbringer. So I think maybe people were defaulting to other nukers just because they were too unwilling to risk his ultimate since they weren't familiar enough or good enough with it.
Yeah, actually, I think it's a very accurate assessment of that hero. I mean, I guess the same thing could go for Gladiator. I think it definitely goes for Gladiator. It's just if you miss all your abilities and whatnot, your hero is just really not that useful. It looks like some initiation going on near the middle lane. It looks like Pharaoh is trying to catch the Nighthound. It looks like he does catch the Nighthound, but he does blink out. It looks like Trixie missing his ultimate. Nighthound still going for the chase. Bubbles coming. Bombardier using his Snowtail going down. Trixie taking out Magic. And and looks like a very nice torn by Gladiator taking out Semi-Jew, and looks like Black in a lot of trouble. Looks like he probably will be going down, and a great crit from level. That's a large amount of damage. Was that 1,000 damage? I believe that was 1,000 damage crit.
It was big. I'm not going to speculate.
It was big.
Looking, but
it was big, but
I think Legion's side's problem there was they let the fight get split up into 2 fights, which is exactly what MSI want because they've got single target heroes, and exactly what OK don't want because they have a team fight team. It's built around the assumption that you're going to be working together, and it's been highlighted there because you look at, I mean, Nighthound trying to choose somebody up, but he's not brilliant with that huge amount of team support because his Cloud's obviously a very team-oriented ability. He's not terrible, but he's not brilliant either, and now Chase up onto the Hellball, and they pick off Freshbow pretty damn fast, but that's not a huge issue. Nighthound's still trying to close the gap onto Witch Day. He's going to find that very difficult, though. He doesn't actually have the phase boots. That's obviously not a terribly common pickup on him, but just might close the distance. Unfortunately for him, Witchslayer has enough matter for his portal key, so that's a complete no. Nighthound just searching the jungle for who he's not going to find, really. And yeah, I mean, MSI did a good job getting the Legion side to split up there, but I'm still convinced it may prove to be too little too late, because they've shown no signs of making a convincing push. They'd have to do that again and then some to take down the 2 sets of barracks. So I just question what they're actually going to be able to achieve in the limited window of time they've got left. I mean, they're opening up a big lead, but I've pretty consistently seen teams that outcarry other teams chewing through big leads at a pretty respectable rate once they finally get going. So I would be surprised, to say the very least, if anything will actually happen in terms of getting this going.
yeah, no, I absolutely agree. But you know, MSI has been playing so well, and they've just been able to do what they need to do to win the battles. You know, like the top lane, they saw Nighthound over there and they initiated on him right when his team was split up. Now, actually, speaking about initiation, it looks like Pharaoh's in a lot of trouble. He tried to initiate on the Soul Stealer, but the Soul Stealer just pops his ultimate and takes out Fresh Pro almost instantly. And, you know, that's 50 seconds that the Legion team can utilize the farm, and you know, that's 50 seconds that is really not going to help the Hellborn team at all. I mean, because considering the Legion team does in fact have a more powerful late game setup.
Yeah, I think that really just highlights the issue with Pharaoh using his ultimate on Soul Stealer without thinking. If you ulted on Soul Stealer and Soul Stealer immediately responds to Shrunken Head and ultimate you've just boxed yourself in right next to an ultimate that fundamentally relies on you being forced to be as close to him as possible. So I think we've reached the one issue here, which is that once Soul Stealer gets his Shrunken Head, Pharaoh ceases to be an effective counter to him, but more to the point, where the flippin' heck was Gladiator? Because his call to arms is pretty much the only thing that makes a decent impression on a Soul Stealer with a Shrunken Head on this team, so it's kind of surprising I haven't seen him. MSI doing the pretty sensible but also pretty predictable thing, trying to take Kongor again. I would hope that the Legion side would cotton onto it, but they're actually going through it pretty quickly, so they're going to get away with it. Legion side milling in the jungle like they know it's happening, but not being willing to do anything about it. And really, by the way, just a technical note, Freshbro popped his mummies around Kongor as he died, just to disrupt a Nighthand if he was trying to steal the token. That's a minor point that you may appreciate if you care about these things. But really, I'm just, again, MSI just going through the motions. We're screwed, what do we do about it? Oh, we kill Kongor and hope we get a lucky push. And OK are playing really, really well, because for all the MSI executing their teamfights well and executing their ganks well, and oh dear, I've missed a load of crap in the middle. Bubbles ultimate goes off, Soul Stealer ultimate doesn't hit very much, but Fresh Pro is going to go down anyway. Bombardier ultimate comes out, doesn't do too much. Nighthand does go down though, and really just the Hellborn side trying to get something out of this fight, get Soul Stealer knocked down. Gladiator ultimate comes in, that's going to be Bubbles finished off. Hellborn's coming out of that head-to-head, chasing up Black in real trouble there. Brilliantly timed, sticking on detonation. Thank you, 4-second timer. And unfortunately, Trixie's going to miss that. Torrent, but not Torrent. Pitfall that makes you go up. How intuitive. Thank you very much, S2 Games. That's just going to let Black get out of there, but really, that went a little bit better in some ways than the Hellborn than it could have done. Bubbles did get that initiation off the Legion side, almost managed to make something out of it, so that nearly went very, very wrong. As it happens, it does look like they're going to be getting a tower, so I guess you can't argue with it, but it did look a little fortunate to say the very least.
Yeah, and something to point out is, like, I mean, there's been a lot of little team fights like this where one team will lose about a couple heroes or 3 heroes or whatnot, but in general, the Hellborn team hasn't been losing their primary carry, which is the Gladiator, compared to the Legion team, which has been losing their Soul Stealer and their Nighthound in these fights. I mean, Soul Stealer is sitting at about 4 deaths, Nighthound at 3, and compared to Gladiator is only sitting at a couple deaths, and as well as Bombardier also sitting at a couple deaths. So you know, it's not only who picks off the most heroes, but who picks off the most essential heroes and the most crucial heroes to effectively win them the game.
You're definitely right about that, but I think it's worth raising an attention just on how well MSI have been playing, because actually, in terms of team lineup, what they're trying to do is essentially push a turtling team with a ganking team, which as things go is pretty much doesn't work. So the fact they're actually managing to keep widening their gold lead and not just have fools made of themselves is pretty damn impressive in and of itself. So for all the fact that Bolt's characteristically excellent picking has rather let him down in that he's got himself into this situation, you have to admire MSI, if only for a moment, just for being able to keep this game going and keep this game alive despite the complete lack of favourable circumstance, because although I still remain unconvinced that they're actually ever going to manage to push this Legion side, and they are for inevitably doomed to lose, they are doing a much better job than might be expected given the circumstances.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very impressive play by MSI. You know, the game before this, MSI was really just not fighting in the best situations, and you know, they really seem to be playing fairly sloppy. But you know, this game they seem to be a lot more on their stuff. And looking at the bottom lane, actually looks like Vindicator could be going down here to the Pharaoh, and looks like Vindicator does go down to Fresh Pro on that Pharaoh. Great hook by Fresh Pro. Actually, and also another thing to note is great wards by Nova. Nova's been doing an excellent job of just pinning down